Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm one in four that has to deal every day with a mental health issue. And this is my story. I've lived with anxiety and depression since I was about 16. Every day can be a battle, and some days can feel completely normal. The problem with anxiety and depression and other mental health problems is that they creep up on you. There's no cure, there's no one size fits all, and there's no way you can kind of see the things coming. They just seem to happen, and then you have to deal with it. Luckily for me, I've had a very, very strong support network around me. But 4 years ago, in 2015, I had the darkest and worst year of my life. The year started out like any other, but it soon changed when both my nan and my cousin died. And as if that wasn't tough enough to deal with and to support my family with, I had a lot of issues at work, and it all became too much. That would be tough for anyone to deal with. Problems at home, problems at work. But when you're not talking about it and you're not getting support from those around you, you just feel lost. And as some people call it, the big black dog, that takes over, and you just don't see any way out. The Christmas before, back in 2014, was a really tough one for my older sister. Even more so for her best friend, whose sister was found dead on Christmas morning. She'd hung herself. It was horrible. There's no other way to put it. But my sister, knowing me and knowing what my mind's like and what struggles I have with mental health, asked me to make her a promise that if I ever got to the stage where I felt I could not go on any longer, to pick up the phone and call her. After a particularly tough day in the office, I was working away, and as I was driving back to the hotel in Durham, there was a bridge just before the A1 roundabout, and I swerved towards it. Something stopped me. Something made me swerve back onto the road and carry on until I got to my hotel. I was shaking. I didn't know what to think. I've never been one to properly think about suicide or think about ending it all, but I just felt like I had no other option, that everyone else around me would be better off if I wasn't there. So when I got into my hotel room, I remembered about that promise I'd made to my sister. I picked up the phone, called her, said, "Remember that phone call I said I'd make back in Christmas? This is that call." A lot of tears followed, both sides, but she talked me down off a ledge, so to speak, that night. It didn't immediately get better from there, but it was a step. I had a really supportive manager at the time at work. She recognised I wasn't myself and that something was wrong, something causing me to slip at work. Not physically, but my work was just going down the pan. We had a very long and honest conversation, meetings aside, work aside, for 10-15 minutes that turned into a couple of hours. She sent me home that night, and the next morning I went to the doctors. I finally had to admit that there was an issue, that there was something going wrong, and that I needed help, and that I needed to reach out and get that help. Long story short, I signed up for some counselling, some cognitive behavioural therapy, and I was put back onto medication that I'd been on years before. And I'm still on those meds today, the strongest dose I've ever been on, but they work for me. I know that I've got very special people in my life, both at work, at home, family, close friends, and my amazing partner. They get me through every day. There were really tough days. There were days when I just don't want to get out of bed. There were days I can't find the motivation. And there were days when I wake up and it feels like any other normal day. There were days in between where you ride that roller coaster, you go up and down, You have good hours, bad hours. You find things to distract you. But most importantly, I talk about how I feel to those that matter to me. And that's what gets me through. If it wasn't for some people in that really dark year, I would not be here today. If, like me, you're having a tough time and it's not something that you can just shrug off, ask for help. You are not alone. It's really okay to not be okay. There is help out there and so many different types of help. And just find a way that works for you. This is a tough world we live in, really tough at the moment. Keep your chin up, get support. Remember, it's okay not to be okay.